in Bagua, I want to move my center around while still keeping these qualities that we're talking about. And so what does that mean? And so I'm going to talk about it and try to put it in context and help to explain it and give you something for that to understand better. Now, if you're having too many struggles with the other part and you're watching this at home, get the other part, everything we've done up to here. Then once you have that, come back to this. Otherwise, if you're like, I don't have the other stuff so good, this is not going to be easier or faster or somehow better for you because it requires that you've got really great structure and whole body connected while being able to wave and move your mind to the floor, back up to the top, while still being connected and using your wave as you do that while still being in that great alignment with that connection. So I'm going to tell you that right away. Now, if I'm doing Xing, Xing fortifies the center. Everything is bunched in and grouped in. Now, done incorrectly, people will, and they'll come into this tension thing to do. It's not that. It's that everything I have in me is trying to condense and come into a smaller, directed, centered space so that without that here, tensed here, right? Make sure you're good. Make sure you're good like football good. All right, this. Versus if I just condense it all in but keep correct, and I can even be forward for Xing because I'm still bringing it into this shape, you can feel this line as it's kind of coming in there. And I didn't have to tense for it exactly, but it did come in there. For Tai Chi, it's I dissolve my center and expand out. Come this way, make sure you're good and strong there. And I dissolve and let it go and that kind of a thing. And there's this yielding aspect and this coming in and flooding around aspect, and it's got a different thing to it again, right? And I'm showing these on the offense right now. I'll show them defensively in a minute. I'm going to show it both ways to try to help make it very clear what's what. In Bagua, I'm doing this and I can't get into him, so I changed my angle of incidence to him. I changed that center to get it, right? So if we're talking, put a fist up here once. Sorry, open hand. Xing Yi, I feel to his center, everything in me comes condensing in like that. In Tai Chi, it comes out and literally starts going outward and expanding outward like that, and it's got that overwhelming that way. In Bagua, it becomes, I'm in here, this line isn't good for me, and how it's coming for me and as a piece together and to him, and I literally moved that, and it had a little more strength than you thought, with no more effort on my part. On the defense, if he pushes into me, push to my foot that way, we're trying to bypass my back here. So however you can do that, that's power, but that way, yeah, do that again. Xing Yi says, you can push me. You can feel it just condenses in, and I'm not doing this. Come again, I'm not doing that. It's not tension. It's I literally condense it all. Condense. So it's in the process of condensing, and it has that, right? With Tai Chi, come again, it's dissolving, come to push me. It's dissolving. In Bagua, come in there again, it's I move where that center's at. So if he had my center, he could do something about it. Come slow so you can see. So right now he's on my center. Go ahead and slowly move me out of there. Put me back down. Come forward again. Watch me change where that's at. So he has to come and find it again. And while he's doing that, I move it again. Notice I did not put power on him to get him there. Moving the center allowed me come to like, rah. So if you look at like that, center at first is towards here, I'm moving it further out. So he can start responding to this, and I move it again. And so from here, you slowly press an attack on that. And I moved it again while keeping all that stuff. Okay, so work with any of that, ask me questions, I'll try to answer, but to give you the idea. So I'm always trying to think of simple ways to express things, and one that occurred to me is that if you had something you're trying to cut with a knife that's really thick and kind of chewy, if it's steak or whatever, and you've got a great grip on your knife, in order to get that cut, you will change where the center is in relationship to that steak in order to get that cut. Or if you had scissors and same thing, you've got some thick paper, you might start off in the end and it's not cutting. And so you open them up, you change what the center of contact is on that thing you're cutting, right? And now you can get power into and sharpness in and through what you're trying to cut. And so this is moving the center like that, and you can do it while still being connected. The scissors and the steak knife were still connected to you, even though you moved where that center is. So it's the same idea, right, in there. And I'm sort of expressing it for you when I move, but normally if I'm doing it, you wouldn't see that. Now also, if I've got a person coming right down the line and I just move off that line, I move center out from in front of them, from a simple standpoint. Versus Xing would have been like, great, he's right there, get him. And Tai Chi would have been, away. And even when they try to come into where you're at now, it's like you're still not there, it's dissolving the whole time. A little more, in my opinion, advanced than the others, but it's going to depend on perspective. The Xing is the one that's easiest to learn to fight with first. Rah! Most people pick up on that kind of quickly. It's if you're doing a lot of those, not as healthy for you ultimately, and also there's a lot of impact and all those things. But it's great fighting art. Bagua, healthy for you and a great fighting art. Tai Chi, if it's being done right, really, really healthy for you and a great fighting art, but it takes longer to get normally. Although if somebody's struggling too much with some of the Bagua intricacies, then it can make that quite a lengthy art to study as well. It's just the fact of the matter for those things.